Why? Why do you do this, YouTubes? Alright. We're going to try this one more time here. I don't know what's going on with the computer and YouTube and everything put together. It's very confusing, but I think we're good. It looks like we're good. Don't know what that was. But it looks like we're streaming now. Let's see. It looks like we're all good. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened. My computer just kind of crashed. Not sure why. I should probably start using my new laptop for streaming. I got a new laptop that I am using for like streaming. Well, not streaming, but playing video games and streaming like on the free time that I do have, a little bit that I have at like in the middle of the night when I feel like I can just zone out and you know, not be stressed about everything. But yeah, so we're back. It looks like are we good? Is everybody here? Or anybody here? No, hold on, I want to make this and make private. So the other, I don't know, the first two live streams that I had open just freaking went to hell. I don't know what happened there. But anyway, so while we kind of wait for some people to arrive here, we will talk about a couple things, I guess. So whatchamacallit, wanted to kind of go over a couple updates with the website. Not updates, but kind of just shed some light on a couple things. Because what was it? July? Was it beginning of July or end of July? I think it was beginning of July. We made some changes to the website, some price changes, some shipping changes and all that. And so far, they've been really positive. A lot of people have been saying like that they really enjoy the lower shipping threshold for free shipping and the bulk discount. So that seems to be really working out. So I appreciate all the feedback. If you have more feedback, if you think there's anything that we could be doing differently or better, always interested in hearing it, because you know, only one person can't see every aspect of it, myself, so feedback's always good. So let's see who we got going on here. What is going on? Mike Justice, Pablo. Hey, I'm a fan from the Canary Islands. Hey, Pablo. I don't know where the Canary Islands are. Where's that located? How's it going, Deborah? B. Mowdy. It's working now. Awesome. Who already gave it a thumbs down? I don't know. Probably somebody that was like, get your act together with your stream not being good quality and having issues. That's always a possibility. Yeah, stuff happens, you know. The problem with it is like this laptop that I'm using, my MacBook, it's from 2012, so it's a 7-year-old MacBook. I mean, it's fully upgraded, but it's a 7-year-old MacBook, and the battery is just shot on it. So I think because I didn't have it plugged in charging, and I brought it down here and I immediately tried to start things up, and it was like, yeah, no, it's not gonna work. I'm so sorry, but it's not gonna work. So I think that's what happened there. So, but yeah, I'm here to answer anybody's questions regarding their aquariums, planted aquariums. I'll try and answer fish related questions if possible, but really just here to hang out, talk some aquarium talk, some plant talk. Right now I'm actually dealing with a huge houseplant pest problem, mealybugs. They came in on some plants, I believe, that Margaret had brought home from work, and they were some pothos plants. And I kept them quarantined, at least I thought, but now a ton of my houseplants have these. It's mostly all my pothos, but a couple other plants have these mealybugs on them. So now, tomorrow I actually have these beneficial insects coming in that will hopefully help to curb the problem, not necessarily solve it 100%, but at least in time kind of help moderate it a little bit. Maybe even fully eradicate them. I don't know, and I really don't want to toss the plants because I really like them, so I'm hoping that this works. If not, then there's going to be like 8 plants that I gotta throw out, which sucks. So let's see. Thoughts on the yeast CO2 method? Mike Justice asks. Well, the CO2 method is pretty good. It's a beginner method for people to use, and what that is basically like you mix yeast with, I think, was it baking soda or sugar? I think it's sugar. And the yeast kind of generates CO2 as it kind of, what is it? Fermentizes? Something like that. And, or ferments. There you go. Ferments. And as it ferments, it releases CO2, which then can be pumped into the aquarium through a diffuser, and then you would get your CO2 in there. But it's good for smaller aquariums. I wouldn't do it on large aquariums. It's probably not going to be enough, but it's decent. What good plant substrate that is shrimp friendly, or what's a good plant substrate that is shrimp friendly? From Justin. What's up, Justin? Justin too. You see that? As far as good substrate, what is it? It's the fluval stratum. I want to say stratum. Stratum is the shrimp friendly one that I know of. I mean, all substrate is shrimp friendly. The problem is you need to set up the tank before you introduce the shrimp, because most substrates will, in fact, leach ammonia, and because shrimp are sensitive, you don't want to have an ammonia spike with the shrimp. So if you have, if you're setting up a tank, set it up, get the substrate in there, wait about a couple weeks to a month, maybe 6 weeks, and then you can introduce the shrimp, and it should be fine. I do love the lower shipping costs and everything. Prices are a little bit higher, but you get so much for your bang, or you get much more bang for your buck. Also, I was wondering where all your houseplants went. I still have all my houseplants. It's just I've been debating, because I'm kind of running out of aquarium topics to really discuss, and I haven't been doing too many aquarium projects around the house. I'm actually kind of trying to downsize as much as possible. So, yeah, I'm trying to downsize aquarium stuff because I just feel like I have too many, and I kind of just been trying to pull back a little bit, and so I don't really have too much going on as far as new stuff. But I think I should do more houseplant videos. I think more people like that, and then maybe get the aquarium bug. We'll see. I guess I should do some houseplant videos. If what, I may do a video on how to take care of the mealy bugs like I'm doing, and see if that works. Pablo says Canary Islands is part of Spain near Morocco. I really like your channel. I'm learning a lot from you. Can you explain fast ways to reproduce bucephalandrid? Well, thanks, Pablo, and that's awesome, being all the way across the world. As far as producing bucephalandrid, kind of make a lot of it. Am I getting frame drops? I think we're good. I don't know. It looks like we're stuttering a little bit. The only way to really get bucephalandrid to really grow quickly is to propagate a lot of it, and what that means is basically make little cut wherever a leaf is, cut a segment off and let that propagate out. Other than that, really, I mean, you could grow it immersed. That would grow it slightly faster, but overall, it's just a very slow growing plant, so it's very hard to do. But Justice says, thanks for the answer. You're very welcome. I did not know that about substrate. Good stuff, dude. You're welcome, B. Matty. Very appreciated. Sorry about my English. I'm trying it. No problem. Hey, listen, we are accepting of all languages here, so feel free. Hell, I even butcher most of the questions. There are some plant-to-tank substrates that says right on the bag, not safe for shrimp. Are there? I've never seen any. That'd be interesting. Covert Boy says, do you like albino version of fish? Some of them. Some of them are just really weird looking that I'm just I don't know if I would like that. But I can definitely see the fascination with it. And there's, I can't think of any off the top of my head, but a couple of them I've seen that I'm like, all right, those look cool. But for the majority of them, they're just weird to me. I don't know. Recently got some hornwort and they are green, but the new growth is kind of whitish. What causes that? And will start to turn green again. That sounds like it may be an issue with your water. If you can, shoot me a picture of it. If it's all the new growth, if there's no green at all, then that's a bit alarming. But if it's just the tiniest bit of new growth and it hasn't turned green yet, that might just kind of be normal. Maybe it's too much light or something. Hey dude, I dose by parts per million and I use CO2 with a twin star 900S LED in a 40-gallon breeder. What part per million NPK per dose would you recommend for this tank with just crypts, algae on leaves? So Randy, a couple things. You need to know what kind of algae you have. Secondly, I would look up a dosing calculator online. There's tons of them out there. I think Rotella Butterfly is the one that I used to use a lot when I did like that kind of, you know, really strict measurements and whatnot. And I would look into seeing what that is. But what we've recently done is we had a tank downstairs that had a ton of algae forming everywhere. It was actually one of our holding tanks, so it was really like a pain in the butt because we had plants in there that we wanted to ship out and sell, but we really couldn't because they were contaminated with algae. Like, and it was a very thick, almost like cyanobacteria, but not quite cyanobacteria. It was like green dust algae, but it was terrible to deal with. And I tried everything. We tried doing a huge water change, gravel vac to everything. We cleaned all like the things that the plants sit in. Like there's these trays. We cleaned all of that to try and get all the algae off of it. We cleaned the outputs. We cleaned the glass. Tried to get rid of all this. Nothing worked, right? It just kept coming back. I would rub it off the leaves. It would come off the leaves rather easily by rubbing it, but they would just continuously come back and wouldn't stop. And finally, Jake actually was like, hey, I'm going to lower the light level. So he decreased it. He dimmed it, basically. And, you know, we'll see what happens. And sure enough, literally like 2 weeks later, all the algae was gone. And not only that, not only was that annoying algae, that green dust algae that was forming on all the leaves gone, but it also got rid of all the black beard algae that was forming in the aquarium as well. So like just decreasing the light by about 50% keeps the plants growing and got rid of all the algae. It was the only tank that was having that problem. So it was strange. Same lights, all the same kind of parameters, and it just worked. And I was like, holy crap. Just by adjusting the light level, how much of a difference that can make. Because we tried everything. Like, literally, I was dosing algicide. It wasn't getting rid of it. I was dosing everything that I could possibly think of. Nothing worked. So, with that said, reducing light levels is my next big thing. I wish I took it before and after, but honestly, I was just so frustrated by it. I was like, oh, I hate this algae. I just can't get rid of it. And I had like no desire to do anything with it because everything I was trying, like we were just trying so much to get rid of it, and nothing worked until we just lowered the light level. Who would have thought? Usually that's not like the first thing that I think of. It's like, oh, it's, you know, the water flow, or it's this, you know. Nope, just dim the light a bit, and sure enough, it worked. Pablo says, thank you very much for answering and your teachings. You're welcome, Pablo. It's hair algae, Randy says. So hair algae, if it's like blackbeard algae, and it's growing on crypts, probably what's happening is like you have a crypts. See, here's the thing: crypts grow super slow, right? So think of them as like a turtle, right? They have a slow metabolism, and what you're trying to do is you're trying to put them on speed because you have CO2, you have really good light, and you have all these nutrients in there. But what's happening is those plants don't grow nearly as fast as, say, like stem plants or like water wisteria or water sprite that grows really fast, or hornwort, these things that need a lot of that stuff to grow really quickly because they have that ability. So what's happening is you have an excess in your aquarium and it's causing you to have this type of algae. So what I would say is look up the recommended dose of your aquarium based on its size. It's the 40-gallon breeder, so I would look up the like the size and the dosing that you should do, and I cut that in half because your crypts are not using. Odds are your crypts are not utilizing the majority of those nutrients. So that's what I would first do, is decrease that. Secondly, if it's either blackbeard algae or hair algae, odds are it's either from a little too much flow, or like I said, could possibly be too much light. So I would kind of play with those. If your twin star is dimmable, I don't know if that one's dimmable or not, but if it is, I would consider maybe dimming it and seeing if that works. I will try to do immersed. I have a lot of different varieties, but only one of each, and they grow really slow. I have new plants from some of them, but others are too slow. Yeah. Yeah, Pablo, that's really the thing with Bucephalandra. That's why they're somewhat expensive and rare to find and all that, because they're slow growing plants, you know, and they're becoming essentially they're going to probably be over harvested to extinction in the wild. So with the hope of one day maybe we could repopulate off of all the hobbyist collections in the wild and see what happens. So Natured Aquatic says new growths are about an inch and less on the hornwort. Most are whitish, but some are a little greenish. You'd have to shoot me a picture, Natured, and I might be able to help you out with that. What's up, Brian P? My tank just got hit with BBA. No, that sucks. Well, try try like manual removal. Try spot treating it with hydrogen peroxide. You could turn off your filter and and spot treat with the hydrogen peroxide in like a turkey baster or a pipette. Then turn it back on about 10 minutes later. Don't overdo it. Don't dose the whole aquarium. Just spot treat little drops on the plants and see what happens. Sandy Cheek says, how can I get rid of snails in my fish tank? Actually, very easy. Take a piece of cucumber or zucchini, throw it in there overnight, like maybe stick it with a fork or tie it to rock or something. Stick it in there overnight. The next morning, when you're basically stick it in there right when the light cycle is going to turn off. The very next morning when you wake up, turn on the light, look at the aquarium, you'll probably see a ton of snails on the zucchini. Toss that and rinse and repeat daily until your snail problem is gone. You could also try chemical dosing. You could also try getting predatory animals that would eat it, such as assassin snails or peat buffers. I don't really recommend that though, because you're basically exchanging your pest problem for this one thing that's going to help you, but then what happens when you're out of that pest problem and you still have that thing? So usually I just recommend the zucchini method. Throw it in there. It'll probably take maybe a week or two, and then after that you probably won't have any snails, assuming you get them all. What's going on, Stephen Law or Stephen Law? I always mess that up. Stephen, Stephen. I don't know. I see STEPHEN as Stephen, not Stephen. Stephen to me is STEVEN, but I guess you could say it either way. Pablo says, it's possible that Neocaridina shrimps eat Cameroon moss? Yeah, it's possible that the shrimps may graze on it and kind of like mess it up, and it may like not grow properly because of it. I don't know if they'd actually eat it, but I guess it's certainly possible. JH Aquatics, what's going on? JH, you got hit with the... But in your area is good. I know Bahamas got absolutely destroyed. It's such a... just, it's heartbreaking to see all that and hearing all the stories about that. So, my thoughts are with everybody that are being affected by this hurricane. It really sucks. Like, I've never been to the Bahamas, but just looking at the footage, like, it's basically like a flattened island all over again. Like, it's like... basically uninhabited at this point. Like, there's just nothing left. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. So, thoughts are with you guys. I just lowered the light level the other day. Did you say you lowered it to about 75%? I had BBA on driftwood. That's what I was thinking about the ferts. I do have pretty high flow. Yeah, high flow will definitely cause blackbeard algae. I think we lowered it to about 50% of the like high end of the light, and what we use is the Flivel 2.0s. So that's what we were thinking. Hornwort or Anacris? That's a good question. So it depends. It really depends. If you have picky fish that are going to nibble on the plants, go Anacris, because they'll nibble the hornwort to the point where the needles will kind of fall off and it'll be annoying. Okay. And but an Anacris is a really sturdy plant. But if you have but hornwort would be like better if you're trying to breed fish, because it has much smaller leaves, so it allows like the fry to really get in there and hide, and it's much better for breeding fish than Anacris, I think. So it really depends on your situation. Wet Sleeve says, how can I overcome brown algae on my aquarium plants that are in a well-seasoned aquarium? I have assassins, so I don't do cleaner snails, and I have one pleco who obviously is lazy. Do I just need to cut? So it depends on what kind of plants you have. If you have stem plants that are getting algae on its leaves, just trim the bottoms off. Usually the top should be algae free. It's probably the bottoms of those. So if you have stem plants, trim the tops, replant the tops, toss the bottoms if you want, or leave the bottoms. It'll grow all new foliage up top and probably be algae free. If it's plants like Blackbeard, if it's plants like Anubis or Amazon swords, I would think to use, I mean, you can't really do Nerite snails. Nerite snails are my favorite for this, but if you can't do Nerite snails, maybe think of autosinkless catfish. They're really tiny and they work really well, depending on your aquarium. How to deal with green dust algae on aquarium glass. Nerite snails. Best thing. Or you could do pond snails. Sometimes they help. Not really so much though. But Nerite snails and plecos and autosinkless will take care of any glass algae whatsoever. They're really good at that. And I gotta tell you guys, I gotta admit something here, and it's kind of heartbreaking to tell you, but Lucky the goldfish recently died. I haven't done a video on it. Kind of bummed me out. We went away for Margaret's birthday, and that Friday or Thursday, so we left Friday, so that Thursday or Friday, I remember going down, checking on the aquariums, and I saw a little tiny like bulge on the side, and I didn't think anything of it. Like, it was a little tiny bulge, like super tiny, and I thought maybe it was just like one scale was like popping off, because goldfish lose their scales, they shed them over time and they grow new ones. So I didn't think anything of it. It wasn't like his whole body was pine coning or anything like that, so I didn't think it was going to be anything too serious. It was just like a little tiny, like, I don't know, like a little nodule type thing. And then come Sunday, he was a goner. And I was like, wow, you know, within like, you know, 3 days. So, and I wasn't really here to monitor him all that much. So I was kind of, you know, I was upset about that. But I didn't think anything of it. I was like, he'll be fine. He was still swimming around. He was still eating. So I was like, he's fine. But within those 3 days, he just took a turn for the worse. So I'm kind of bummed out. And I'm debating on what I want to do with the tank now. I was thinking maybe get a new goldfish. But I'm like, let me kind of just let it ride for a little bit. Like, my whole thing is I really like my plants more than I like the fish, even having stuff in them. So I'm like debating on, like, do I get another goldfish? Like, do I really want to have another goldfish? Like, I'm fine with it not being there. But at the same time, it's one of those aquariums that just isn't going anywhere in the basement. So I kind of feel like, well, you know, if I'm going to have the aquarium set up, I might as well get a fish for it. So I was thinking about doing some sort of fancy... Oop, I did get blurry. I was thinking about doing some sort of fancy goldfish, possibly. I'm not entirely sure. We'll see. I was debating. I'm debating. I'm probably gonna wait maybe a month or so. I might wait until Aquatic Experience, which actually, while we're here, let's talk about the Aquatic Experience, because that is coming up in a month. Actually, it's in October, so we'll be there. And I was actually thinking about holding off till then, because I could probably pick up a fish there, and you know, maybe be much better quality than some of the local stores. I don't know, maybe some Breeders Level 10. Who knows? But I was thinking about that, maybe. Because you know, like, I have the 75-gallon tank, and that's where my community nanofish are, which those are fine. Like, I like those. I don't need any other fish. Like, I'm content with those. I actually want to get like 50 more of them, but they're expensive. They're like $5 each, and you know, it adds up. It adds up. You know, you're talking about $250 on a, you know, 50 fish, and you know, it's just, I don't know. I'm being more conscious about how I'm spending on the hobby, because I just feel like I went through a period where I was just any amount of money. It was like, yeah, I want that, and I'll spend it, and it's mine. And now I'm like, yeah, let me be a little more frugal with what I do. So that's, you know, that's the reason why, like, I was doing aquarium project after aquarium project after aquarium project, and I'm like thinking to myself, I'm like, I'm burning through all this money. I'm doing these tanks, and then it's like, you know, like, I don't know. And then it's like maintaining them. I have too many, so I need to start downsizing. Anyway, a little off topic, but But yeah, so I don't know. I think I'm gonna wait till the aquatic experience, see what they have. If they have something that I like there, I may pick it up then. Maybe a goldfish, maybe not, maybe something else. But I prefer to do a goldfish because I just feel like I like that aquarium with the goldfish in it. And then I have the other aquariums where I have like just random fish that I've picked up over the years now that people have donated or gotten rid of, and I can't say no to free fish. I'm like, oh yeah, you don't want those fish? I'll take them off your hands. And yeah, so I kind of have to deal with this a little bit. I gotta go to like Aquariums Anonymous or something. So anyway, where were we? If you add CO2 to a planted tank, can you lengthen the lighting period? My tank was low tech with 7 hours of light. Thinking about extending it to 8. Now I've added CO2. Worried about algae though. And that comes from B. Thank you, B, for the question. So personally, what I would say is I wouldn't adjust it at all. If you just added CO2, you're already adding a new variable to it. And then when you increase your lighting period, it doesn't matter. It could be 6 hours or 8 hours, or really 6 to 8 hours is ideal. So if you have it at 7, I wouldn't say to adjust it really at all, because you already had a good track record with that. Now you're adding CO2. Now that's a new variable. Odds are you're going to get some sort of algae popping up, because now there's a new element for the algae to thrive off of, and your plants aren't going to be adjusted yet to that. So what's going to happen is, if the plants are sensitive to pH swings, you're going to see a lot of dieback from some of the plants. And then you'll see new growth pop up that is going to start utilizing more CO2, because basically the existing leaves of the plants are kind of made to utilize what they can at that time. And as the plant grows, it's going to be able to adjust how its leaves are forming, and maybe the size of them, or the growth rate of the overall plant. And then it can maybe possibly absorb more. So I wouldn't adjust anything other than adding the CO2, and then I would probably wait like 3 months, see what happens. If you get any algae, then figure it out from there. And then if you have no problems after about 2 or 3 months, then you can increase the growth, increase the light cycle. But I wouldn't do it more than 8 hours. At 8 hours is the kind of limit. I prefer 6. I have everything set for 6. I feel like that is optimal. You're not blasting it with crazy amounts of light, but at the same time, it's giving the plants enough light to grow. So that's what I would do. I have 2 Bristol nose plecos that clean non-stop minus the BBA. Yeah, so BBA is tricky. Reticulated flying foxes are a great fish for that. Not the regular flying foxes, and not Siamese algae eaters, but you want reticulated flying foxes or reticulated Siamese algae eaters, either one. And they are really good. They eat a ton of blackbeard algae. So Wet Sleeves says they have the ferns, Anubis, swords, and creps. So that's a bit more of a problem, because if you have algae on those, and it's, I believe, what's it, hair algae? Oh no, brown algae. So you got brown algae, and you have the cleaner, or you can't have cleaner snails because you have assassins. So I would say probably go with autosynclus catfish, see if that helps. Even though you have a pleco, I think, right? Didn't you say you have a pleco? Somewhere I thought you had a pleco. Yeah, that's probably what I would go with here. So sorry to hear about Lucky. Yeah, thanks, guys. It's alright, though. Fish die, it happens. It's a way of life. Everything dies eventually. I have a 5-gallon shrimp tank. I use fluval stratum with CO2, osmocote, and liquid ferts, and it doesn't seem like my dwarf hairgrass is sending out any runners after a month. Best way to get a carpet going. Israel dwarf hairgrass is going to take a very long time to grow. It's a very slow growing plant. Even in the tank that I have over here with a really good light, it grows super slow. So just keep that in mind. Just leave it be. You could try trimming it, but that may do more harm than good. Maybe if you have a decent amount of it, maybe trim a little section, see what happens. Maybe more will start to grow there, and then if it does, then you could trim the rest and really get it going. But I wouldn't do anything too major with it. I mean, if you have stratum, you have CO2, you have liquid ferts. I mean, the only other thing that could be holding it back is lighting, and that's up to you if you want to replace your lighting. Thank you for your advice. Very much appreciated. You're very welcome. The Royal Blue says, any tips on keeping endlers? I've never, well, I did have a couple of endlers, but I never really kept them all that well. If you're looking to breed them, definitely get some plants. They are, I guess, similar to guppies in the same aspect. But other than that, I'm not a big endler guy, so I wouldn't really be able to help you out much with that, unfortunately. Every time I stream, every time I yawn. Any other day, I guess I am a little tired. Like lately, I've been going to sleep very early for some reason. I don't know. I think it's maybe just old age. Like I don't feel old, but like I used to be able to stay up to like 2, 3 in the morning, no problem. And now it's like ever since having the baby, but I don't feel like that's tiring me out because I don't feel tired from her. It's just like my clock is just all messed up. It's like, you know, 9 o'clock rolls around, I'm ready for bed. The only time I can stay up late is like if I'm on the computer and I'm like zoned in on something. If not, like my brain just wants to shut off. It's like, yeah, time to go to sleep. I'm like, really? Come on. I used to be up till 2, 3 in the morning, no problem. And I'm only 30. I feel like this is a problem when you have like, you know, way older in life. Shouldn't be having these tiredness. I don't know. Maybe there's something else that's going on that I can't tell, but I'm always getting tired now. How easy is it to grow, or how easy is stargrass to grow? So if you're talking about the stem plant, it's very easy. It's a difficult plant to ship, though. We have very hard luck with that. A lot of times people get it and all the leaves melt off because it's a very sensitive plant to temperatures. It does not like it. Does not like being in bags. So it's a very, very sensitive plant. If you get a chance to get your hands on some, I'd definitely say throw it in your aquarium. It'll grow like crazy. It's all the thinking you gotta do to answer questions making you tired. Maybe. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe talking a lot. I don't typically talk this much, like in my day-to-day life. Like, I'm very kind of, is it introverted when you're more like about yourself than, yeah, like extroverted is being out there. I'm more inverted, so, yeah. So, I don't know, maybe it's just talking a lot that makes me like need to yawn. I definitely don't talk this much when I'm doing other stuff. Take Ashwagandha? I don't know what that means. Sorry, I am visionary. Don't know what that means. Anyway, so what else we got going on here? Oh, so I got on the topic of aquatic experience, then I got off the topic. If you're coming to the aquatic experience in New Jersey, New York, whatever they want to call it, it is, what is it, October 19th? Is that what? Yeah, October 19th? I want to say, like 17th to 19th, something like that. Look it up. Anyway, we're going to be there. We're going to be outside the YouTube booth. So basically, there's going to be a ton of YouTubers there, myself included. And we're going to have our own booth selling tons of plants. We're going to have, you know, a bunch of stone. I'm actually going to be running a special too on the stone there because I have a lot of stone left over that I got over a year ago. And I really need to get rid of it because it's just sitting in my like garage and taking up a ton of space, and I really need to get rid of it. And so it's going to be on sale at the place because I'm just like, just get it out. Get it out. I'm going to be selling it pretty much for cost. Maybe even less than cost, depending on how fast it sells. If it doesn't sell the way I think it would sell at that price, I'm literally just gonna cut it like by a third and just be like, just take it, get it out of here. I don't want it. I don't want to bring it home anymore. I've trucked it to 4 conventions now. This will be the 4th one. I don't want to deal with the stone anymore. I'm kind of done with it. I don't even really want to sell it anymore. Like I don't plan on ever reordering it unless I need it. So I just want to kind of get it out the door and you know, recoup all the money that I have just sitting there in the stone. Royal Blue says, any new projects coming up? Not really. I do want to do an update on like the paludarium tank because it is growing out of control. Do an update on the mini pond aquarium that I did. That one's doing somewhat alright. A couple of issues, but overall doing pretty well. I do want to do a video actually on aquarium plant seeds, like the ones that you can find online that are usually not good. They're usually like not aquatic plants, and we'll see if I could get that done. I need to clear out one of these aquariums. I'm kind of use it as a testing ground for it. But yeah, that's pretty much, I don't know, that's where I'm at right now. Not a whole lot of new projects. You know what it is? I'm out of space. You know, like the only thing I could do is redo these tanks, and really only like my small cube tank. I want to keep that. I love it. It looks great. I don't want to mess with that one. The other one, the light broke on it. I have to get a new light for it. And then, although things are still growing, even with just the sunlight from this room, the other tank that's still covered by a black bag, because I haven't had time to really sit there and do it, I need to do that. And then the Paludarium tank is doing well. The long tank in here, I want to refresh. I was actually thinking about bringing up the shell dwellers from the basement and putting them in the long tank that's here. But I don't know 100% yet if I want to do that, just because that's like a big change, and then I have to like worry about the fish back here. Meanwhile, they're in the basement, so they're a lot easier to deal with because we're down there so often and monitoring the fish. These aquariums up here I don't really monitor because there's no fish in it. It's just plants, and the plants grow fine. So I don't know. We'll see. Do you have any experience growing immersed bucephalandrid? Any tips? I don't. But just keep a high humidity. Bucephalandrid in the wild grows on rocks along stream beds. They're typically grown immersed, so you shouldn't really have any problems as long as you keep the humidity up. What was the light you used from Amazon for the nano tank? Sandy Cheeks asked. I will get you the exact link. Hold on one second. Because that was a while ago, though. Hold on. Let me see if I can find this. So it's a decent light. I will tell you though, one of them stopped working. Out of the, what do I have? 3? I had 3. One of them all of a sudden I think just burnt out. So that's not really that bad though, if you have 2 out of 3. So let me find, where is this? It's gotta be. It's gotta be this one. Jesus, my hair was wild in this video. So there's the light that I used. And of course that link helps support the channel and uses the Amazon link. So yeah. God, I gotta start like doing more projects, I think. Why's the video all blurry again? What the heck? I don't know. Anyway, it's getting dark in here. Bright. Too bright. Too bright. Better. Okay. So yeah, so that's where we're at. I gotta do a couple things. Let's see. So we got about 10 minutes left or so. So if you have any other questions, feel free to ask them, and I'll try to answer them. But yeah, I think I need to do. I don't know, man. I think it's like YouTube burnout, or like just running out of ideas. I've done so many videos that I'm just like, what haven't I done, and what is interesting, and like I don't want to keep like rehashing the same thing over and over again. Like this, even like these live streams feels like it's the same thing over and over again, but I enjoy this because at least I can answer questions, easier than like just messages and stuff. Like it just makes it so much easier. So best cherry shrimp compatriots, other shrimp, other small shrimp, or snails. Do not. So here's the thing, right? If you want to have a community tank, that's fine. That's great, and I applaud you for it. If you want to have your shrimp colony and you really want to like have an explosive shrimp colony, keep just cherry shrimp or whatever shrimp by itself. Don't put fish in it. Even if they're small fish, they're still going to eat the fry. The fry are super, super tiny, and they will be eaten, and your numbers will not be as good as they possibly could be. Not saying that you can't have a successful colony with fish in there, it's just going to be much easier, and you're going to have much better, like a much higher population than you would if you had fish in there. So I personally, like, if I was to do a cherry shrimp tank, I would just do cherry shrimp. I wouldn't do anything else. I would maybe put in a couple narite snails to help with the glass, because shrimp really can't, like, they eat algae, but they can't so much, like, claw it off of the glass so much. Like, a little bits of it, but narite snails just help clean it. And I would probably put in some Malaysian trumpet snails, too, to really turn over the substrate. But, yeah. So I would just do snails. Keep it super simple. Don't do anything that crazy, and you'll have a really successful colony. And, of course, you know, there's tons of people out there that do have successful colonies without or with fish, so, you know, it's just my opinion on the topic. But yeah, it was actually, you know, shrimp are fascinating to me. My blue bolt really didn't work out. I don't know why so much. I don't know, I guess it's, like I said, it's just, there's so many projects going on, so many tanks, that it's hard. It's really, life is hard sometimes, I have to say. But yeah. I really do like shrimp, though. I wish that blue bolts worked out, but not so much. So, oh, my dog's hear something. Oh, so the other day, funny story, right? We had a security system installed for the house. I don't know if I think I said it on stream the other, like, couple weeks ago. Our cars got broken into because they were left unlocked. Go figure. And somebody just, you know, checked if the handle would come up, and then, you know, from there, whatever. Now we make sure the cars are locked, but somebody broke into the car. So I've been debating on getting, like, a security system or not. I thought, for, you know, because the business is in my home, it's probably a better idea. Like, we have a security system, but we don't have a camera system. So I got a camera system. But when the guy was installing the cameras, all of a sudden it just started raining out of nowhere. It wasn't predicted to rain, and it just rained. Like, there was no rain in the forecast, all of a sudden rained. So some of the cameras were still open as he was adjusting them. Like, they were mounted, but they were open, like the cover to them. So some of them got wet. And I called him back. He came back. He tried to, like, wipe down the lens and all that and fix it, but it just didn't work, and the cameras were shot. So I had replacement cameras, you know, sent in from the company that I ordered the system from originally. And I have a fear of ladders, like, or a fear of heights, really, not ladders per se, but fear of heights, and I don't like being up really high. Like, 6 feet is about all that I could do on a ladder before I start feeling nervous. And my house is really tall. We have a really tall building, so the cameras were at about 12-ish feet, I would say. And so, like, I felt bad to, like, keep calling this guy back to, like, do stuff with the cameras. Like, I already paid him, and the weather really wasn't his fault. Like, it was his fault that he should have closed the cameras. He shouldn't just had them open. But at the same time, I'm not gonna fault him for that. So so what I was like, you know what, screw it. I'll get up on the ladder. I'll switch out the cameras. I know how to do it. It's not a matter of not knowing how to do it. It's just a matter of the height. Like, I just don't want to be up high. You know, it makes me have, like, anxiety or whatever. Like, I get that, like, oh my god, I'm gonna fall. Even at, like, the slightest, like, you know, like, wiggle of the ladder, it, like, gets my heart pumping, because I'm like, oh my god, like, I'm gonna fall. So I managed to get up there the other day, but I had Jake. If you're familiar with the channel, you know who Jake is, but Jake works for me. And I was like, it was his day off. I'm like, hey, would you mind coming and spotting the ladder while I climb up there and switch out these cameras? And, like, I'm only going up, like, you know, 12 feet. It's not, you know, super tall. I'm on an extension ladder that's up against the wall. It really wasn't going anywhere. It's just the fact that my nerves were like gonna be through the roof, and it was so much less nerve-wracking knowing that like he was on the ladder, and Jake's a big guy, so he's holding that ladder, you know, so he's able to stabilize it. Like it could still you know, fall, but you know, he had a good grip on it, so it made me a little bit more relieved. But it's just like getting up on those ladders was nerve-wracking to me. But the other day, the reason why I come up with this, because what was it, yesterday I got home and I'm like, where's my garbage can? I could have sworn that I put out my garbage in the morning and then it was gone, and I'm like, aha, I have cameras now. So I went back to the cameras. I looked. It turns out we have a brand new neighbors next door. They just moved in literally this past weekend, and the guy's wife, I guess, the garbage man put my garbage can in front of their house next to their garbage can, and I don't think she realized. I don't think she like does the garbage, but she had brought the garbage cans back in and tucked mine with hers by accident, not knowing like it was mine, so it was just kind of funny. Because I go back to the cameras, I'm like, aha! Like, but I know that they didn't do it on purpose. It was just a mishap, and yeah, it was just funny. But it's like cool to have those cameras now. Like I could see everything. So like, I don't know, just like stuff that's going on outside, I can go back and see. You know, like sometimes the dogs are going crazy. I don't feel like going up like checking the window, so I just pull up the cameras. It's nice. It's nice to have. Anyway, that story was pointless. Jake's in here. Nice shirt. Thanks, Jake. You could do with a big guard dog. I have actually a big guard dog, Walter. So we have a security system, we have a camera system, and I have 2 dogs. Honey is just a loving dog. She wouldn't bite anybody. Walter, on the other hand, Walter tries to bite my mother-in-law. He's tried to bite Jake numerous times. I don't think he's tried to bite Jake's girlfriend. Has he tried to bite your girlfriend? He tried to bite Jake's mom. She came over once and almost bit her. But it's not like these are people, like, he's not going after viciously. He's like nipping at them to kind of be like, yo, you're in my house kind of thing. But if somebody ever came in this house that I wasn't there to be like, it's okay, he would bite them, like literally like tear them up. Like sometimes like a mailman will come to the door, or like somebody will just come to the door. I might be outside and I'm talking to him, and he's like right there ready. Like he's like, yo, you come in my house, I'm gonna freaking destroy you. Jake says, I'll bite Walter back. I need to assert my dominance. Good luck with that. I thought he was gonna say the car thief was now stealing your garbage cans. I know, right? That would be funny. I literally thought when I got home, I was like, somebody stole my garbage can. I'm like, seriously? And I'm like, but I got the cameras. I'm gonna get them. I was like, I told Margaret, I'm like, listen, I'm not above calling the cops on somebody that stole my garbage can. I will get their license plate number because the cameras are good enough. Like I can see license plate numbers on cars going up and down the street. I can see faces really good. I have the really good night vision. Like they're really good cameras. And I'm just like, if somebody wants to steal my stuff, let's go. I'll report you. I don't care. When we first moved in here, somebody stole my snow shovel. I left it on my front porch, not thinking anybody would steal it. I was like, all right, it snowed. I'm leaving the snow shovel there, so that way Margaret can shovel when she gets home, because she gets home before I do. But I shovel in the morning, you know, if it snows when I'm still home. And somebody stole my snow shovel. That was, you know, when we first moved in. So now I'm like, let somebody steal my snow shovel again this year. Let's go, because I'll you know. You see, now they're barking. Somebody's out there. Put Walter in the car. That would give them, the thieves, a surprise. Yeah, but then that would be kind of animal cruelty. No, he's just good. He's a good guard dog for the house. I mean, I pity the person that ever tries to break in, because he is not going to take nobody's shit. Like, did I just cursed? I think I just cursed. Oh well. He ain't gonna take nobody's crap. And you know, it's funny though. He just tries to bite my mother-in-law all the time. Not like bite her, but nibble at her heels. It's funny. She's scared of him too. I'm like, all right, it's gonna be a love, you know, thing. He's not gonna break skin. He's just like trying to show you like he's the boss. So no need to get that worried about it. What type of dog is he? So he is a mutt above all else, but he is probably part lab and part Shiba Inu, although although they say that he could be part husky. I never did the doggy like DNA test. It doesn't really matter to me, but he's mostly lab and some sort of kind of husky-esque breed. New piece of spiderwood and it looks like spiderweb coating on it after being submerged 3 days. What is that? It's probably some sort of water mold. Probably completely fine. I wouldn't worry about it. It'll go away in time. You're very welcome, Carl. Alright guys, we're about at time, so if you have any final questions, feel free to ask now. Oh, Michael, you sent me a picture of the hornwort you were talking about. Let's take a look at it so I can give you an answer while on stream if you're here. So they don't look bad, Michael. The guy with the hornwort. Oh, can't wait to see you tomorrow. Jake, are you coming late tomorrow? Or are you coming early? Was I supposed to do something tomorrow? Can't remember. So the hornwort looks okay. What it could be, it might actually be a lack of nutrients. Because I don't know how often you're feeding your fish or if you're dosing nutrients, but it could be that they're just growing and don't have enough nutrients to really sustain its color. But if some of them are turning green, then that's probably not the case. It's a little hard to tell. But if they're growing, I wouldn't say it's a big problem. Just added a bunch of new driftwood I gathered. Are there woods you shouldn't use in an aquarium? Yes, Montana, there are tons of woods you should not use in your aquarium. You should probably look that up. I don't know of all of them off the top of my head, but pretty much any wood that's fallen in the forest or in like, you know, outside in the woods, I wouldn't put in the aquarium. The only wood that I would ever consider is something that's actually been in water for a very long time, that is weathered. If you take fresh wood from the woods and put it in there, usually there's sap, there's toxins that are in that wood that will leach into your aquarium and could possibly kill your fish. Very well will kill any invertebrates, so shrimp, snails, stuff like that will most likely die from non-seasoned wood. But okay, it's driftwood. Alright, so as long as it's driftwood, it should probably be okay, but you'd still want to check on the type of wood it is to double check it. Oh, you're coming in late tomorrow. You start school today. Damn. Alright. Well, I guess I will see you tomorrow evening. Oh, somebody just placed an order? Oh, I kind of started making this a thing. Every time we do a live stream, I want to just shout out the orders that came in while we were live streaming. So let's see. Carrie Ann, thank you for your order. Appreciate it. And did this person order while we were streaming? No, that person ordered. Oh, no, wait. That wasn't the right person. This person. No, that was before we started streaming. So thank you. Appreciate it for the order, Carrie Ann. All right, last couple questions here. Then I'll be hopping off. So let's see. Should I remove the rim off my 20-gallon tank I just purchased, or will it fall apart when filled with water? I giraffe's ass. So personally, I wouldn't, but you could do it with the 20-gallon tank. Now, keep in mind, though, sometimes you want to brace the aquarium through the middle, so you may want to try and find like a piece. I think you could do it with glass. You may need acrylic, but put a clear brace in the middle and silicone it to just try and keep it together. But 20-gallon tanks are so small that there's not a lot of water pressure to push it out. But do it at your own risk. Look up videos, do lots of research before you go ahead and do it. Newbie here, getting first planted tank set up right now. Best way to check iron levels. Iron levels, I wouldn't worry about, Russell. unless, are you doing shrimp? I'll remember to bring the hot pickles. You better. How high would humidity need to be for immerse growth on Amazon swords? I'm thinking of trying them in a larger aquarium. I would say probably about 70%, maybe a bit more, but at least 70%. It needs to like be almost like foggy in there to really grow these plants. Like when they're grown at nurseries, they're misted like every couple hours to keep the leaves wet. My shrimp won't breed. Well, that sucks. Maybe try a different food. Maybe try plants. You know, maybe you don't have a good mix. Maybe you have like you know, not enough male to female ratio. Maybe you don't have any males, period. Maybe you don't have any females. It's hard to tell by just a statement like that, but try a couple things. Montana says, I want to send you a pic of the new tank and get your opinion. Is that cool? And where can I send it if it is? Yeah, so anytime you guys want to shoot me any messages, Facebook, Instagram are usually the best for non-order related questions. So anytime that you just want to say, hey, check out my cool aquarium, shoot it to me on Instagram or Facebook. If you ever have an order-related question, like, hey, I ordered my plants, they're lost in the mail, or hey, I ordered my plants and one came damaged, or whatever the case is, shoot us an email, because the email is more closely monitored than me by Jake and myself, because we like to try and answer you know, questions or issues having to do with the orders right away. And then usually a lot of our questions that are on social media have to do with other stuff, like, hey, you know, I have this plant, it's not doing well, how can, and we help people that way. So we like to kind of separate them out. So Facebook or Instagram, if you want to shoot me pictures of tanks and ask me questions about them, that's fine. But just know Jake also helps me answer Facebook and Instagram as well. So it may not be me that sees it, but I will try and take a look at it, because he helps me out with all that. Check the temperature on the aquarium in regards to breeding the shrimp. That's also a good question. You definitely want colder water. You don't want really warm water, because if your temperature's messed up, then it won't do well. Thank you. Sounds like immersed swords won't work for my purpose. I'll go with the peace lilies. Yeah, peace lilies will work really good for you. Can you give me ideas on what kinds of fish or max number of fish for a 20-gallon? I'm new to this and really want to make my first aquascape. So what I would do in this aspect, if you're doing your first aquascape, my personal suggestion is pick one sort of community fish or one show fish. Because it's a 20-gallon, I would say pick community fish, and I would pick just one type and get, you know, typically the rule is like 1 inch per gallon of fish. So like, you know, if you have 20 gallons, 20 inches of fish, so if each fish is 1 inch, then you get 20 of them. You could probably push that a bit further if you have plants, but stick to that rule as a good rule of thumb. So I'd probably get like 10 to 15 like small little tetra fish or something like that. I personally like Celeste Pearl Danios, but you could do whatever you want. And I would just do that. I want to do like big fish like angelfish in a 20-gallon tank. I want to do goldfish. I want to do cichlids. Nothing like that. Do very simple minimalistic fish. And the reason why I say that is when you have a mixture of a ton of different fish, like say you go crazy and you got 3 of one fish and 4 of another and 5 of another and all these different combinations, that just takes away from the aquascape. And if you're really, if your main focus is the aquascape, the fish are secondary, and the fish are just decorations to what the aquascape is actually the piece of art. So keep that in mind. That's what I like to do. Possibly shrimp, just trying to judge how to dose for nice red plants. Honestly, small, like just dose like the normal dosage of the bottle that it says, and that should be enough. The plants are going to utilize it. However, what I would say, like if you're just starting out with iron, do half as much. That's what I would do. But I would also get like a test kit that checks iron if you don't already have one. Hey, maybe you should do videos on different kinds of algae. That's actually a pretty good question. Thanks, B Bounty. I will write that down in my book of ideas, because that is I haven't done that. That's actually a good one. Although there are videos out there, I don't know. And it's a good idea. I'll toy with the idea. I'll see what I could come up with. And Jake is right. Iron levels are not directly related to red plants. Red plants can be achieved in many ways, yes. Bought them for Petco. Maybe I should try a reputable breeder. Saul from what? Your shrimp from breed. Yep, that's possible. You might have gotten them. Oh, so if my memory serves me correct, Petco, their supplier, I think only sells them one sex of shrimp, if I remember correctly. I think I remember hearing this, or like one of the big box stores. I don't know. It may not be Petco, but I believe I heard a while ago that like they have a very small ratio of like male to female or something like that. Like I think you only get one male for every 10 females or something like that. Or no, I think you get like 9 males to every 1 female. So your ratio may be very off, and if that's the case, that could be why. I would try and sext how many shrimp you have and like sext them all and figure out, okay, I have 4 males and 4 females, and then okay, it's not the fact that you didn't get a good mix. So I would try and do that. Iron will help get some plants red, but not as much as people online say it will. Yes, this is correct. You cannot just dose a ton of iron and your plants will turn red. Plenty of plants are hiding places might encourage the shrimp to breed. That is another very good thing. Just sent the pic on Instagram. Awesome. I will check it out after this live stream. All right, guys, that is going to wrap it up for this live stream. I'm actually about 10 minutes over, but I felt like I should just stay and talk. But, all right, so we will be back in 2 weeks, hopefully. So it's so many times things come up on Wednesdays, and it's only Wednesdays, like Margaret gets called in and has to work late and stuff like that. So, yeah. But with that said, I will see you guys in 2 weeks. Hopefully, I will. These next 2 weekends though is going to be tough for me to do videos, so I really hope that I can do a video this weekend and next weekend. But next weekend I'm going to be out of town again for like the whole weekend. So hopefully, we could get some stuff done. But I will see you guys soon. I hope you have a good rest of your week and enjoy back to school. I know I certainly am with all the traffic that I have to deal with in the morning and afternoon. So, have a good rest of your week. And, yeah, see you later.